6 ordinary habits, and by the end of this, you'll know which one you're changing tonight. Not 5, not a program, 6. My neighbor Margaret, 67 and holding, is trying every one of them with me. No lectures here, and none of that, well, what do you expect at your age? We don't allow that at this table. Count along with me and keep score honestly. I'll tell you mine at the end, and mine isn't pretty. Here's where it starts, and Margaret knows this landing better than she'd like. 7 in the evening. 13 steps to her front door, and she's counting them with her eyes before her feet have agreed to anything. She used to carry the shopping up in one go, talking the whole way. Tonight, she puts the bag down on the 3rd step. It's the bag, she tells me. They've started making them heavier. First one, and it's sitting in her living room being extremely polite about it. Margaret meant to sit for one program. The chair had other plans. 2 hours later, she stands up and her legs come back online the way an old radio does, slowly and with opinions.
On paper, it's simple, and it's got nothing to do with age. Legs are made to be interrupted. They handle a whole day of standing about, provided somebody keeps changing the subject. 2 unbroken hours in the same shape is not rest. It's a very comfortable kind of waiting. Margaret's armchair is comfortable the way a swamp is comfortable. 2 hours, by the way, is not a figure of speech. We timed it. Margaret sat down at 8:20 for one quiz program and stood up at 10:20 having watched a quiz, a drama she did not like, and 11 minutes of a documentary about canals. I was going to get up, she said. There was never a good moment. That is the chair talking, and it is very persuasive. So try it with me, right now, and it costs nothing. Every time the adverts come on or the kettle goes, you stand up. That's it. You don't march anywhere. You don't do anything athletic. You stand. You count to 20. You sit back down. Margaret manages it about half the time, which she says is a personal best.
Now the next one has been in her hallway for 11 years, and she's never once looked straight at it. It greets her at the door every single morning, and it's the only thing in the house that's allowed to be that worn out. Her slippers. Backless, flattened, older than her youngest grandchild. They're comfortable, she says. They know my feet. And here's the bit nobody mentions. In a shoe with no back, the foot has to grip to keep it on. All day. Every step is a small negotiation with the floor, and the legs are the ones paying for the argument.
Try this with me. Put on something that stays on by itself. A slipper with a back, a soft shoe, anything the foot doesn't have to hold. Wear it one ordinary day and see how the evening treats you. Margaret bought a pair, wore the old ones anyway for a week, then quietly stopped. Her daughter bought her a proper pair 2 Christmases ago. Soft, closed at the back, the color of porridge. They are still in the box, on top of the wardrobe, being saved, and none of us has ever worked out what for. They're too nice for the house, Margaret said, in the house, wearing the old ones. Which brings us back to that landing, because Margaret has invented a system there, and the system is the problem. 13 steps, taken as one long ordeal, holding her breath from the bottom to the top, like a woman going underwater.
Roughly speaking, that's the whole trouble. Stairs aren't hard because they're stairs. They're hard because we treat them as one item to be survived instead of 13 small things to be done. Nobody eats a loaf in one bite and calls the bread difficult.
So we split them. 6 steps, pause on the landing, count to 5, then the rest. Same stairs, same legs, half the drama. Margaret did it with the shopping last Thursday and got to the top still talking, which for her is the actual victory. That's 3. How are we doing? Honestly, no marking yourself kindly. 3 habits in, and if you've got 2 of them already, you're ahead of me and well ahead of Margaret, who is currently sitting at 1 and arguing about it. Keep counting. 3 more to go, and the next one costs nothing at all. Number 4 happens where we all pretend to be patient. The queue at the shop. Margaret stands like a soldier at the post office counter, both feet planted, absolutely still, being good.
And standing still, put plainly, is harder work than walking. Walking hands the weight from one leg to the other, over and over, a conversation. Standing frozen is one leg holding the whole argument alone. 6 minutes in a queue costs more than 6 minutes down the road.
Try it with me next time you're waiting. Shift your weight, heel to heel, slow. Nobody can even see you doing it. Rise up on your toes once or twice if there's a trolley to hold. I look like I need the toilet, Margaret says. She also gets home without that heaviness, so we're keeping it. And here's the bit I want you to actually hear, because it's the whole reason we're at this table. None of what we just described is your age arriving. It's a chair, a slipper, a staircase, and a queue. 4 objects, all of them replaceable, none of them born in the same year you were. That's a relief, Margaret said. I was going to blame 1958. Now the 5th one is a gift, and it costs a cushion. It happens after supper, at the exact hour when we've decided the day is over and we're only going to sit here quietly with the telly.
Legs spend the whole day going uphill, in the sense that everything they carry against the floor. Give them 20 minutes the other way round, feet up on a cushion higher than the hips, and the evening reads differently. They say it's the oldest trick in any nurse's handbag.
So tonight, 1 cushion, feet up, 20 minutes, telly on. That is the entire instruction. Now this one I will do, Margaret said straight away. This one involves lying down. She would like that noted. A week of that, and here is what Margaret reported back, in her own words. I still don't believe it's the cushion. She said it while sitting with her feet up. That's the thing about small habits. They work long before you agree to give them the credit. And the last one is standing on her worktop right now, full from breakfast. Untouched since 7:30, wearing a small skin of dust, waiting to be noticed. Her glass of water. She poured it, mint it, forgot it. I did drink it, she says, and then looks at it. By 4 in the afternoon, she is tired, and she will blame the year she was born. Roughly speaking, it is ordinary thirst in a tiredness costume, and it gets away with it every single day because it never has to introduce itself. Try it with me and make it stupid simple. The glass lives where you already stand. By the kettle, by the chair, by the sink, wherever your feet go anyway. Not in a cupboard, not in another room. Margaret moved hers next to the kettle and drank 3 in a day, which she announced like a moon landing. And that's 6. Before we finish, look at what just happened here. Not one of these asked you to be younger. Not one of them asked for a gym, or a floor mat, or a program with a name. Margaret is 67, and she has changed exactly nothing about her age. She has changed where a glass stands. And please, do not take all 6 tonight. 6 changes at once is how a person proves to themselves that nothing works. Take the one that made you wince a little while you were listening. That is the one your day is actually built around. The other 5 will still be here next week, patiently, like the box on the wardrobe. 6 habits, and look what they have in common. Not one of them is exercise. Stand up when the kettle goes. Wear a shoe that stays on. Split the stairs. Shift your weight in the queue. Put your feet up after supper. Keep the glass where you stand. That's the whole list, and every single one is something you already do, just done on purpose. So how did we do? I promised you my number, and I'll keep it. 4 out of 6, and 2 of those only since Thursday. The stairs one I've been ignoring for a year. Tell me yours in the comments, and tell me the one you're changing tonight. Not all 6. 1. Margaret picked the cushion, obviously.